Hola familia, it's Alex. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. So as you guys can see from the title, today I want to share with you guys eyeshadow palettes that I reviewed last year that I have yet to even talk about at all this year on any of my videos. I have not taken them out to use them again. I have not done anything with them this year. And I like to do this during the summer once a year. I did this last year. And I want to do it again this year to remind myself that there are palettes that are getting neglected in my collection that I did spend my money on. So I have 5 this year, actually. Last year I had a lot more, and I think that as I go more and more into my years in YouTube, I am purchasing less and less, which is great, which makes me feel better knowing that only this time around I've only neglected 5 palettes so far that I haven't spoken about at all in any video, in any type of way at all on any of my social medias. So if that's something that interests you, stay tuned. But first, if you're new to my channel, welcome to the familia. My name is Alejandra. I'm an eyeshadow enthusiast with a dash by Japan. If that is something that interests you, subscribe, join us. And now let's get on with this shaming game. Looking at these 5 palettes, you guys, I probably would only declutter 2 of them if it really came down to it. None of these palettes am I necessarily wanting to declutter. None of these palettes, they all have a purpose, even one that's not that great, but there is a purpose for me keeping them, and that's why I have not gotten rid of them. And I don't purposely neglect my palettes or certain palettes. I just genuinely forget. You guys, I have so many eyeshadow palettes that I could not go a full year using a different palette and still go through all of my palettes. I'm close to 2 years worth of not repeating a palette. That's how many palettes I have. I know, you guys, I've been wanting to do a declutter, but I do not have anybody to give my stuff too, so that's why they're still hanging around in my collection. I have exhausted all of my friends and family, so I'm just buying less and being more cautious, which I should have done from the beginning, but that's okay. You're not here to hear about my struggles and my first world struggles, so we're good. I just want to share with you guys 5 palettes that I have not spoken about at all in any way, shape, or form in any of my social medias, nor have I touched them this year. But now that I have them in front of me, now I'm wanting to do this more, which is nice because at least 3 of these I want to pull out this year. So let's get into it. All right, the first one is this one, and it's upside down. This one. This is apparently the latest from Colored Rain. I don't think they've released anything since this one last summer. This is the Juicy Boost, and this was a tragedy, because Colored Rain has an amazing formula, and this was by far my worst palette that I purchased and spent my money on as of last year. There are some shades in here that I do like, and that's why I stick around with them, and I'm not going to give a crappy palette to somebody. That's just not how I roll. So I might as well keep it, suck it up, and make it work. I can make this work, you guys. It's not extremely terrible where I can't, but compared to Colored Rain's formula and the cost of this one, not worth it at all. There's so much better out there. They had so much potential with this one, and then they changed the formula for whatever reason. Not happy with this one, but I haven't pulled this one out since my review. I haven't touched it since my review, and it's still in my drawer. It's in my drawer where I have to finagle certain palettes and pull them out of the way to even pull this out because it's so large in my collection. But I don't know if I'll pull this one. Maybe I'll pull it out to revisit it just to see if my mind has changed on it. The other one I want to talk to you guys about is another one. This will probably, if I were to do a ranking video of all of my Juvia's Place palettes, this was probably going to be at the bottom. There's something about this palette that I just, I don't know. One, they changed the circles to squares. That's the first thing. And then the pressed glitters are not my favorite, but they're there. I don't know. It's okay. It's okay. But when I think of Juvia's Place, honestly, I am being 100% honest, I don't think of this palette. I think of other palettes in my brain than this one. Just, I guess the amount of blue that's in here, I'm just like, okay. And this whole row right here, I can do without too. I purchased this with the intentions of it hoping to change my mind and stuff, but I haven't reached for it. I haven't spoken about it. This is the first time I pull it out, look at it again, review it, stare at it, wonder what I was thinking, basically. Up next is this. This was the last one that BH did like this, and then they started to change their format of their eyeshadow palettes, and that is the BH Midnight Festival palette. I don't know why I haven't pulled this one out, because this one has my favorite type of pressed glitters in them because they're super finely milled and they look like fairy dust on your eyes. So beautiful. Now that I pull this out, I'm like, why am I not playing with you? It has all the neons and brights that I would love in the summer, or why? Told you. There's 3 palettes in here that I now want to pull out, and the first 2 are not it. This, I am very surprised. Yeah, I want to pull this out to play with it. This is beautiful. I don't understand why I've forgotten about it, to be honest with you. There's no excuse, minus the fact that I just like to try new things when it comes to eyeshadow palettes. But yeah, this is beautiful. One of my favorite neons. This is what I was expecting from this, and I did not get it. This looks like a juicy boost kind of thing. But yeah, haven't spoken about her, and I want to play with her now. Up next is this one. This is the e.l.f. J Kiss It to the Rescue palette. This is better quality than I've tried in past years from e.l.f. It is not the best, but it does work well. It's doable. It's a lot better than the Juicy Boost, especially when it comes to the mattes, I'll tell you that much. And for the price, come on now. I don't know why I haven't pulled her out either. Another palette that I want to leave hanging so that I can play around with it. So I'm going to leave this one out because I haven't spoken about her, touched her, done anything since I've done that review from it. And the last one, this surprised me because even the packaging looks very summery. This is the Wet n Wild Bretman Rock palette. This is really good quality for Wet n Wild, and this was a really good color story. I really like this color story. I don't know why she hasn't been touched either. And now that we are in the summer, let's play with her more. Let's incorporate all 3 of these palettes in a look, shall we? That'll be interesting. But yeah, I haven't pulled her out yet either, and she's beautiful. And I would like to hit pan on this palette. I think that this is a great one. I don't own many Wet n Wilds. I can tell you that right off the bat. I think I own maybe 3 at most. 3 at most Wet n Wild palettes. I don't own many, and this is one of my top ones, and I'm surprised that I haven't pulled her out to play with her. I have thought about her, but never pulled her out for a video this year, and surprisingly, I don't know why. All right, guys, those are my 5 palettes. Out of the 5, these 3 I definitely want to play around with, maybe incorporate them in a therapy session now that I'm trying to do those more often since I've been having computer issues. These 2 I'm still on the fence on. If I were to do a declutter, these would probably be at the quicker than quick would be gone. But at this point, I'm not going to declutter these. I have to be in that mental state of wanting to declutter, not just because. And right now, I'm letting it be until I find somebody or an organization that's willing to take these things off my hands, because right now I have no one. And since I live in the woods, it's hard for me to find an organization that's willing to take any donations. I would have to drive an hour away to do that. So that is it, you guys. I will link these down in the description box if they are still available. I don't know if some of these are still available or not, but there's so much out on the market, you guys, that I'm sure you could find something very comparable if any of these color stories tickled your fancy. All right, you guys, that's it. I thank you guys so much for watching. More videos on the screen for your enjoyment. Until then, adios.